My name is Yelyzaveta. For short, it can be Lisa. I am originally from Ukraine, and right now I'm in Sweden, and I'm in Sweden not by my choice right now, because as it was mentioned before, that people don't want to be called refugees. So it just happened that I didn't have a flight back in Ukraine in time. So I stayed by my luck or by my unluck in Sweden right now. Don't know yet. But I studied in Sweden, and I studied specifically migration, and I studied women in migration. So here I want to share some insights that can reflect to current situation and to what women in entrepreneurship is about. And I do think it's a big value because my studies prove that usually countries lack such approach, such inclusive approach to women, where all the useful information can be found, and where the sources can lead you to learn more about the culture, more about the opportunities, more about how you can find help in the location you're in. I guess I prepared quite a long presentation. I will shorten it a bit. So it can be more of a discussion. So if anyone wants to add something, you're really welcome just to jump into my speech. So what I want to start with, it's more that migration from one perspective is very underestimated, to my opinion. People tend to see this as a big issue, like a really big issue, and for government as well, because, you know, it's a lot of people, a lot of resources. You need to make sure that all of those people receive enough. And usually migration flows come with a lot of opposition. And it's very often that people identify themselves as us and others, right? That's how we kind of tend to distinguish. It's normal, it's our survival skills, it's absolutely fine. But what people also underestimate about migration is the fact that migration become very feminized, because 55% or even more of international migrants are women, because most of who migrate are women or women with kids. We move to different reasons. It's looking for better economic opportunities or education, getting a job and studying, building, you know, empowerment and career, and challenging ourselves, or war. And when it's war, most of people who leave, it's women with kids. So migration is all about feminization. And in this case, Sweden, since here I'm talking from Swedish perspective, has a lot of empowering tools specifically for women, and women entrepreneurship as a project is exactly what it is about. It's an empowering tool, and I believe that yeah, it will grow, because it's more and more common that women and people talk about entrepreneurship and see entrepreneurship as the alternative way of settling in new country. So here I want specifically to mention the role of authentic leaders, of authentic communication, of authentic leadership, and seeing this as a tool for integration. Because as was mentioned also before, that we tend to believe usually that we need to find another kind of job or be employed, and to start your own employment, or the company or the organization, requires sort of self-awareness, sort of self-confidence, sort of self-support. And when we move, we are very lost, because we tend to have kind of an identity crisis. We need to decide whether we're going to stick to our previous identity and never move on, or we're going to accept the new identity that the other culture society is offering us. So to some extent here, it's important to become self-aware of all your strengths and weaknesses and understand what kind of opportunities in the new place you're arriving at you have. And here where the authentic leadership comes. It comes with a lot of, as was said before, inspiration, a lot of support, a lot of motivation. And as we share identities, based on gender, on being migrants, on having to have sort of similar experiences, then we tend to see that that's an inspiration example. And here I talk about well settled, right? That's very important that we talk here about well settled examples that can bring you with, this idea of challenging yourself, but at the same time giving you support. And yeah, so in this sense, I would have said that authentic leadership and people who tend to become authentic leaders, like those who take a role of being coaches or being moderators or being trainers or being teachers at school, for example, who teach the language or provide a source of information. All those roles, they, what I want to believe, should be based in authentic experiences where people also can share their personal stories, their obstacles, their fears, their issues. Sometimes also it go far to the problem of discrimination, of the problem of not having recognized previous experiences at job, at companies, skills, education. That's all what we usually tend to, meet. It's like a closed door. Oh, sorry, you don't have experience in this country. We cannot employ you. Oh, you don't speak the language. We cannot employ you. Oh, this education is not recognized in this country. We cannot employ you. And that's something that people tend to not emphasize, but it comes with these difficulties. And what authenticity is important here is to understand that you are not the first person with being in this problem, in this challenge, that there are also other examples and you have ways, you have, kind of options. And that's what authentic leadership comes with. So it's all about, sharing. And I think here's authentic leaders needs to be quite proactive. So I think the integration from this perspective to empower women should go beyond just professional aspect. It should go more to social, cultural, and authentic aspect that helps us to understand ourselves, what we're capable of, what kind of identities we obtain. And it's just what it starts from, because we tend to bring a lot of cultural aspects with that as well. And understanding your own self, your capabilities and opportunities are crucial from the perspective of integrating in new society, considering entrepreneurship, and becoming a new member. And in the end, it's just beneficial for both the hosting society and the part who is in society. That was my thoughts.